Having a child completely transformed my life. As the youngest in my family, I had always been taken care of, but when I had my son, I knew everything would change. I just didn't realize how difficult the beginning of motherhood would be. Hi, I'm Gwen, and at 26, I gave birth to my first child, Heath. My husband, Hugh, and I were over the moon. From the moment I first heard him cry in the hospital, I knew I would dedicate my life to him. That's what parents do, right? But, as I would soon discover, it's not the same for every parent. Enter Hugh's mother, Trish, recently divorced for the second time. She came to stay with us. She wasn't in the best mental state and had nowhere else to go. Trish had Hugh when she was very young, and the divorce left him emotionally scarred. When I married Hugh, I found out that Trish had just had another baby, which was a surprise considering her age. She and her ex-husband thought having a child could save their marriage, but it fell apart, and she lost custody. When we brought Heath home, Trish was thrilled. She would sit by his crib for hours, staring at him in awe. While I was grateful she was there, I could tell she was still grieving the daughter she had lost custody of. One day, as we were settling in, Trish asked, "What's his name?" "I think he looks like a Raymond or a Carlo." "We've already decided. His name is Heath," I replied with a chuckle. "Heath? I love it. Little Heath. Can I hold him?" she asked excitedly. I handed her Heath gently, trusting her experience with babies. Hugh and I smiled as we watched her interact with him, but soon, Heath started crying. "Let me have him. He's hungry," I said, reaching for him. "Nonsense. He just wants attention," Trish insisted, continuing to play with him as he cried. I exchanged a confused look with Hugh. "Mom, I think he's too young for that. Let Gwen take care of him," Hugh said, trying to step in. "He's not hungry. He's fine. I've got it," Trish replied, not wanting to give him up. "Please, Trish, let me take him. I'll bring you some water," I asked calmly. "He's not hungry, I can tell," Trish insisted, gently rocking Heath. At that point, Heath's crying escalated, and I quickly took him from her arms. Trish seemed to resist, holding on to him briefly before finally letting go. Her strange behavior was starting to become a pattern. She would often try to play with Heath, even when he was asleep, which was incredibly frustrating. It would take me hours to get him to sleep, only for her to wake him up the moment I wasn't looking. She didn't seem to care about his crying, insisting that babies just wanted attention, and food and sleep were secondary. "Sometimes it's 2 hours before they get hungry," she argued. "Trish, Heath is only a few weeks old. He needs regular feedings and sleep," I explained, but she wasn't listening. "You new mothers think you know everything. No wonder kids these days are so spoiled," she retorted. Her refusal to acknowledge Heath's needs made it feel like she was using him as a toy, only interacting with him when it was fun for her. I decided to talk to Hugh about it, but he wasn't happy with how I was talking about his mother. He wasn't around much during the day since he was at work while I was on unpaid maternity leave. I wished my employer was more supportive, but I didn't have much of a choice. "I've already used up my 12 weeks of paid leave," I said. "Now I'm stretching it out. Hugh, can you please talk to my mom? She's been through a lot and just wants to bond with Heath," I said, hoping for some understanding. "I do get along with her, but she acts strange around our son. Last night, I woke up to find her just standing over his crib, staring at him. It freaked me out," I admitted. "She said she wanted to play with him but knew I wouldn't be okay with it, so she just stood there." It was creepy. The situation was becoming more unsettling by the day, and I knew something had to change for Heath's sake. "I know she can be a little off, but she's not going to hurt him. Just be nice and persuasive, and she'll come around. She's soft-hearted, just like you," Hugh said, trying to reassure me. "I don't know. Heath is too young for a nanny, and I can't take him to work with me," I said, feeling anxious. I worked as a barista, and our finances were tight. Just living on Hugh's income barely made ends meet. I had initially considered leaving Heath with Trish, but now I realized that might be a mistake. One day, while trying to get Heath to sleep, I heard strange noises coming from our bedroom. Trish, who had been napping in there since we only had one bedroom, was pacing around, looking distressed. When she noticed me watching, she swung the door open. "Do you think I should talk to my lawyer again?" she asked, out of the blue. "Talk to your lawyer for what?" I asked, confused. "For my baby, like yours. I think if I try hard enough, I can get her back. Maybe I should file a lawsuit against Tommy and prove he's not fit to raise her." Tommy was her ex-husband, who had custody of their daughter. I felt for Trish, but I also knew she was in a fragile state. I had to try to talk some sense into her. "Trish, that's unrealistic. Even if you prove Tommy unfit, you wouldn't get custody," she'd end up in foster care, but once she turns 18, you could adopt her. We could bring her here and raise her together. Trish, you need help, I said gently. You need to let go of this fantasy. It's not healthy. Are you calling me crazy? You, the barista who caught my son's eye? You'll never be as good a mother as me. What's with you? We took you in because you had nowhere to go, and this is how you talk to me? I'm sorry things haven't worked out for you, but attacking me won't help, I said, trying to stay calm. Shut up. Just shut up. I'm leaving, she screamed, storming out of the room. I feared for a moment she might hurt me or Heath, but she didn't. The custody issue was clearly affecting her in a way I couldn't fully understand. When I told Hugh what had happened, he got upset with me for letting Trish leave in her state of mind. He didn't believe me when I said she was obsessed with the custody issue. Later, Trish came back, claiming she had been sitting on a park bench all day, though it had only been a few hours. She apologized and retreated to her room to nap. She asked to help put Heath to sleep, but I was hesitant. I wasn't ready to let her have him alone without supervision. Things didn't improve after that. Eventually, I realized I had to make a difficult decision. Trish needed to leave. The situation reached a breaking point one day when she casually asked, "How much does it cost to raise a baby these days?" Well, diapers and other essentials cost around $100 for the first month. Baby-proofing the house once they start crawling can add up, too, I explained. Why? She asked, as if she had something on her mind. It wasn't as expensive when I had Hugh, but I'd still do it all over again, she said wistfully. I'd give anything for little Heath. So would I replied, feeling a pang of discomfort. I'd give up anything for our baby. Her referring to Heath as our baby felt off, but I tried not to let it bother me. Days passed, and Trish started going out regularly, every evening around 5 p.m. She'd leave dressed up with her purse. I didn't think she was seeing someone, but maybe she was just trying to look good. We were supportive of her efforts to improve, and her behavior toward Heath seemed to normalize. She no longer acted strangely, would hand him to me when he cried, and even helped with feeding him and buying supplies. But I knew I had to protect my son, even if that meant making tough decisions. I felt a sense of relief as Trish seemed to be getting better, slowly returning to her old self. I was even considering leaving Heath with her when I returned to work, which was coming up soon. But then, one day, I overheard her playing with Heath in the living room. I'd been taking care of him all day and was beyond tired. I tried to rest, but Heath's cries woke me up. As I got up, he fell silent. Then I heard Trish, "Good boy, you're my baby, okay? Mom is going to take really good care of you. We're going to fly to a nice place where you'll have lots of fun toys. Don't you want that?" I wondered how much of that was just a game and how much was true. As I fully woke up, I realized Heath's cradle had been moved from my room. While it wasn't heavy, the thought of Trish moving it without waking me unsettled me. When I entered the living room, my heart skipped a beat. The cradle had been altered, with large glass Christmas ornaments hanging above it. They were beautiful, but they could have easily fallen and hurt him. Panicked, I rushed to pick him up. "What's going on here?" I asked. "He's enjoying it," Trish replied. "Where did you find these ornaments?" I questioned. "I found them in your storeroom, thought he'd like them." "Trish, these are really heavy. They're not too bad for us, but for the baby, they could be dangerous. How did you attach them? They could fall any minute." "Hey, what's with all the accusations?" I got him to stop crying, and now you're still upset? "I appreciate that you calmed him down, but these ornaments could hurt him. His old plastic toy wouldn't cause any harm if it fell." "How did you get it off?" "I thought it was attached. I just ripped it off. Didn't take much. This is much nicer. What's the problem?" "I get that, but please, let's take them down. They could fall. And don't put the old toy back, it's too flimsy for anything." Trish pulled the ornaments off, but as soon as she touched them, 2 of them fell directly into the cradle, leaving marks on the bedding. That's where my baby could have been. Though her intentions weren't bad, her actions were reckless. She left us in the living room and went back to bed. From that point on, she started to pull away from me. Each morning, she would leave the house and return hours later. When I asked where she'd been, she always replied, "Just at the post office. I'll be back soon." The central post office was a long distance away, so it seemed odd that it would take her all day. She also kept whispering strange things to Heath, like calling him her baby and saying her name repeatedly, hoping he would say it first. Her behavior started making me feel uneasy, so I confided in Hugh again. "She's trying to get better. Why aren't you being supportive?" Hugh said. "She still acts strange around him, calling him her baby and repeating her name." "I know about the Christmas balls. You're overthinking it." "No, I'm worried, she's acting odd. I'm concerned. She's just taking care of him. The balls were a mistake, but she won't do it again. You need to let her go to the post office, okay? I've asked. She just says she'll handle it and leaves for hours. Hugh, she's not going to the post office every day, that doesn't add up. She used to work there and probably has some friends. Maybe she found a part-time job. Why wouldn't she tell us? I don't know, just relax. Stop watching my mom like a hawk. She's not guilty of anything. That was it. I reached my breaking point when Hugh refused to take me seriously. Since my return to work was imminent, I decided to prepare without anyone knowing. I secretly installed a baby monitor, hidden in the wall, when both Hugh and Trish were out. Once I started working, Trish stayed home more often, which seemed normal. She'd play with Heath and put him to sleep. I worked part-time, so I was home before it got too late. But one day, I overheard Trish talking to Heath through the baby monitor. We're going to fly away, Heath, just you and me. Mama has been working hard teaching little kids like you. I have so many plans once I run away with you. I heard Heath giggle as she spun him around the room. My little baby, do you like spinning? Of course, you do. We're going far away from your cradle. I'll get you a new one with shiny balls. And I'll be a pretty mom, not like your mom. We'll make Daddy run away too. What was going on? She kept spinning him for a while, and when she finally stopped, Heath started crying. She put him on the edge of the bed, holding her head as if dizzy from the spinning. My heart stopped as I feared he'd fall, but she caught him just in time, placing him back in the cradle. Stop crying, or you won't get any more attention from me. You'll learn discipline. Kids these days, she muttered, slamming the door. Now, I was genuinely worried. I had recorded everything and considered sending it to Hugh, but I had to be sure I wasn't imagining things. That day, I came home early, anxious about Heath. Trish answered the door, looking exhausted. She yawned, went straight to her bed in the living room without saying a word. I hurried to my room, fed Heath, and locked the door. He cried a little, but then fell asleep. After things quieted down, I searched for Trish's red purse. She always carried it with her when she went out. I had to find it. After searching for nearly an hour, I found nothing. Then I spotted it hanging from the coat rack. I grabbed it quietly, and sure enough, inside was a teacher ID and a plane ticket for the day after tomorrow. She had been planning to run away with my son. I kept the items and sent the video to Hugh, demanding he come home immediately. Still think I'm overreacting? I asked when he saw the evidence. Hugh stood speechless, holding the ticket and ID. After watching the footage, everything became clear. Trish had been planning this for months, saving money and preparing to leave. She needed help, and it was evident that we had to act. Hugh, now convinced, called his father, Jonah. After filling him in, Jonah said, "We have to get her out of the house." "You think a retirement home?" Jonah suggested. "That's what I'd do," Hugh replied. "I think she needs psychiatric care," Jonah said. "Let's talk to her." Jonah arrived and, as expected, there was a lot of tension. Trish and Jonah had never gotten along. The confrontation was intense, with shouting and tears. "He's my baby," Trish cried. "No, he's my son," I snapped back. "Trish, you need to leave now," Hugh said firmly, "or we'll make you leave." "I'll see how you do that," she retorted defiantly. At that moment, I couldn't take it anymore. My patience had run dry. "You're never coming back here. Get out. Keep your hands off my son." "Enough," I shouted. Hugh pleaded with her. "Please, just come with us. Mom, don't make this more complicated." The argument went on, but we ultimately decided that Trish needed to be placed in a retirement home. The nursing home agreed to provide psychological care for her. I didn't care anymore. I tore up the plane tickets in front of her and contacted the school to make sure she would never be around children again. I may have been harsh in my anger, but I knew it was necessary. Thanks for watching. See you again in the next video. Stay stunned.